Welcome back to the All In channel. In this video I'll review the infotainment system in the BYD Sealion 7. Right, let's make a start. There's a lot to get through and I'll try and get through pretty quick. Let's start with the options along the bottom of the screen. First one is the rotate screen option. It's a bit of a party piece in the vehicle. Look, most reviewers don't fully appreciate it. They give it a bit of a hard time, call it a gimmick. Look, it's actually got a couple of good use cases. The first one is for bringing up cameras. So if you hit the camera button on the steering wheel, you get to see a lot of, you get two camera views. If you rotate the screen here, you get three. So if you're in a particularly tight spot or in a certain scenario, parking or trying to get out of a park, this is quite a good view to see multiple camera angles. So that's good, and you can, configure different camera views from here as well. 2D. You can see through the vehicle, see what's underneath you, perhaps if you're nearing a curb or something like that. You can also change some options up the top. So yeah, probably a little bit underappreciated, but there's definitely at least two use cases for that. The second one, if we shoot back to the home screen, is navigation. So using the onboard navigation app, you'll notice here there's not a lot of screen north and south. It's mostly east and west, and when you're using navigation, it's usually pointing you in a forwards direction. So if you rotate the screen here, you get all this view north. So that's a really good, really cool thing. I think it's a little bit underappreciated. Okay, so that's the rotation of the screen. This button here is the option to split screen. So you can split screen using any of the apps native to the vehicle. So for example, you could have maps on one side and then your media center on the other, where you can play your radio, some music off your phone, some SD card, USB music, even things like Spotify, things like that. So that's quite a cool feature. This button here will flip them over, so if you want navigation closer to the driver's side, you can do that. If you want to change the app there, here's Spotify, bring that up, and away you go. So that's quite a good feature. Closed split screen would be that one. Oh no. Close split screen would be that one there. If we pop back home, the next button is your apps button. So here are the apps currently installed in the vehicle. Here's your recently used apps. If you go to the BYD store, you can explore other apps or all apps and install, update or open them as you wish. Not a lot of apps, so interesting, but not a big array of apps there. But I don't really care. So these apps. This button here is your demister for the front window. Next we've got on comes climate control. Next you've got temperature adjustment for the passenger side, climate control button, and then temperature control for the driver's side. You've also got dual climate there if you want. So if we turn on dual, turn off dual, you can control that side of things. Across you've got air only button, circulation, internal, external. This button here is your rear demister and wing mirror demister. There's your front demister button again. Max for getting the cabin cool really quickly using AC on and off, auto button, which is great, and then an on-off software button as well. There's also a physical on-off button and a physical auto button on the center console. Other options, adjusting your temperature, your dual versus single climate zone. Controlling the fan speed here, max, min, somewhere in between. Off again. You've also got where you want the air coming from, your central vents, bottom and central, and then your front as well. So that's good. Ion for air quality as well. In terms of heat seating and heat ventilation, in the variant that I have here, the premium, you can control that for the front only. So there's a couple of stages, stage 2, stage 1 and off for ventilation. Same for heating, 2, 1 and off. Passenger side configurable over here. You've also got an option for rear windshield and side mirror heating, which is cool. And here's your air purification settings available here. So your PM 2.5 is available. You've got purification button there, so it'll purify the space. And then you've got this anion option, which I have no idea what that's about. So something for me to look into later on probably. And then you've also got a tab here for settings, but we'll touch, that takes you to the general settings area, so we'll touch on that later. So if we pop back and back again, back to the home screen. So I've touched on climate control. There's an on-off button for climate control, a soft button as well, but there's one on the center console which is easier. You've also got your settings for the car. This is your general settings area. We'll touch on that soon. Your home button and a back button as well. You've also got, above this, you've also got another ribbon of buttons. This ribbon is editable, so you can add additional apps to that ribbon. But what is here currently is some phone settings. So there's the pad, I've got my phone in the car, there's some directory and things like that, recent calls, missed calls, blah blah blah. You've also got shortcuts there for that too. Next button along here is the car button, and from here you can explore visually the exterior and interior options for the vehicle, which is looks cool. I don't really use it a lot. And you can change the colour, which is interesting. That looks pretty cool. You can adjust things like rear view mirror folding. You can adjust the left and right side windows, all close, all open, or ventilate, pop back. You can adjust the blind, close and open the blind if you wish, that sort of thing. So a visual way of adjusting parts of the car. I'm charging at the moment, so it's detected that the charging port is open. So if we pop onto the interior, here you can control things like the ambient light and seats, which we've kind of touched on already. But here's an option for seat adjustment. You can set 2 profiles for the seat, position 1, position 2, so if you've got multiple drivers of the vehicle, they can quickly switch between each other's preferred seat settings, so that's interesting. You've also got controls for ambient light. You can control the whole, control it as a whole. You can separate front and from the rear, and you can choose all sorts of options. You can adjust it based on the music that's being played, sync it to music, and you can also sync it to just general colours, which is cool. Don't really use that too much. You've also got options down the right hand side. If you don't want to control it visually, you can just look at it on a grid type option in more detail that way. So that's interesting. Daytime running lights, blah blah blah. So that's that option. Nice to look at. Don't really use it. I just like to drive my car mostly. So if we keep going back there, you've also got a button to lock the car and unlock the car, open the trunk, and there Here you've got a shortcut for the audio system. So at the moment our source is Spotify. If you want to change the source to Amazon Music, you can quickly do that. I don't tend to use Amazon Music, so we're not getting a lot out of that. But USB, for example, we've got a USB stick for my daughter playing some music. And you can also pause, skip, and if you want to go straight to the media center, you can hit that button there and get the full experience. This button here is your map or navigation screen with inbuilt navigation, fairly stock standard using Google Maps. Got a few other buttons across the top here. What's that one? Settings, at range with the current battery, state of charge. You can mute the navigation instructions. You can check out nearest charging stations with that button, and you can also change how the map presents to you with that one. You've also got shortcuts for home and work. You can program those in. So one touch, take me home. One touch, navigate me to work. You can search for your desired destination through there, so that's fine as well. And just while we're here, we've got a button to edit the wallpaper or desktop for the screen, and you can also change between set map as desktop or set the wallpaper as desktop there. So that's the bottom ribbons. Just while I remember, there's also controls, some shortcuts using hand gestures. You can adjust the temperature of the climate control with 3 fingers, up and down. And you can also use those 3 fingers left and right to adjust the fan speed. I don't tend to use those just because it's not the end of the world doing them. I tend to use auto anyway, so that's one reason, but they're there if you want them. You've also got a shortcut ribbon or skirt down from the top, so you can access frequently accessed settings here, media, nav, sounds, some controls for center screen and instrument panel, vehicle control. I mean, these are all editable as well. You can edit what's on here, but if you want to get to the driver monitoring system settings and turn those off, which you tend to do, then you can quickly do that from the top. Child presence detection, well, that will take us to the same place as well. What else have you got up here? Vent and heating for seats, things like that. Other shortcuts, connected devices, you can turn the screen off, whatever. Access your Wi-Fi and Bluetooth settings as well. Up top left button is your messages, so if you've got any messages from BYD or other apps, they'll pop up there. There's your PM 2.5 settings, your air quality settings in and out of the cabin. There's your connection, the car's connection to the nearest cell tower. That USB symbol tells me I've got a USB device connected and the status of it. Bluetooth, enough said. Wi-Fi, enough said. Music, that's the source that I'm playing at the moment. Please turn on ISO first. I assume that's to do with cruise control and things like that. I don't really use it. Clock, and then if you want to talk to the BYD, if you want to talk to BYD, the voice assistant, you can potentially go that way, but there's faster ways to do that. You can just say hi BYD or something like that. So yeah, that's kind of the screen as a whole. Next we'll just jump into the vehicle settings. There's a lot here, so we'll rattle through. Again, everything's broken down into tabs, so to speak, down the right hand side. So the system settings are within system, and then you've got a further system of tabs across the top. So this one has 3, 4, 5, 6 tabs under system, talking about the first one being connection, so your Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, hotspot, remote control and cellular data settings. Audio, got some settings for the Dion audio sound system, and your phone and ringtone volumes, using those when they're connected through Bluetooth. Some display settings, you can change the brightness, you can change screensavers, adaptive brightness, you can have dark mode or light mode or auto, so that'll change depending on the time of day, and how much sun's out. Wallpaper, desktop settings under there. Version is the version, it's to do with the software. A little bit confusing. BYD don't give away too much about what all this is, but if you want to see the software version, you hit upgrade and then you hit upgrade again, and then it will actually tell you what car, what the latest version is on your car. If you hit the little hyperlink, you get nothing. It just says noted, go back. BYD, tell us a little bit more. What, I'd like to know something here, something meaningful. IVI details, again, not really sure what that means, but my system version is basically based on the 2025 June version. That's probably getting a little bit old, but again, BYD haven't pushed out an update to me or haven't notified me of anything, so I'm none the wiser. So that's the restore settings button and a factory reset. Under system, strangely named, under system tab, there's a system tab. There's some time and date settings, some time settings, language settings, memory playback. What's this? Cool, yeah, no, that's helpful. It's just saying it'll remember where I left off with radio and other third-party sources, maybe music. Some user agreement statements and other declarations. Under apps, this is where you can see all the settings for them. There's the apps that I've currently got installed probably. You could dive into those. Storage. So interestingly, total capacity storage on this vehicle is 256 gig. I've used, I don't know, 2/3 of that. Here's a breakdown of all that storage by type. So most of that is on system. 160 gig of my 163 used space is system stuff. Some security settings. Again, not particularly useful for driving a car, but they're there none the same. Permission settings, disable auto start and notifications. So you can turn off some notifications, like probably the biggest one I've turned off is Spotify. I get it when I open Spotify, I get a notification to say you're using Spotify, which is not very meaningful. I don't really care. So that's system. ADAS, again, so there's 3 tabs for ADAS. Intelligent cruise control, which is set to off. The dealer, I believe, did that, and that's fine, I don't really mind. Safety assist, there's a number of options here. Emergency lane keeping assist, blind spot detection, door open warning, intelligent high beam control, stability control and hill descent control. Those 2 are off. That's fine, I'm not too bothered. Parking assist is on. Lane departure assist, there's a few modes. There's warning, prevention, both warning and prevention, and off. I'm on both. All very good. Alert mode is you've got options of sound, vibration or both. This is just on vibration. So that will give you a nudge when the vehicle senses that you're departing your lane. You've got some collision avoidance assist, so automatic emergency braking and rear collision warning. And then for forward collision warning, you can fine tune that between late, moderate and early or off. Mine is on moderate. I think that's how I picked it up. That was on that setting when I picked it up from the dealer. So some people probably switch that to late to prevent some phantom braking that it has some users have of this vehicle have experienced apparently. I haven't experienced too much phantom braking, maybe once or twice with cars, you know, in front of me being triggered, but yeah, I would probably suggest most people have it on late, but I haven't had too many dramas, so it will do. You've got some cross traffic collision avoidance assist options. You've got front alert, front brake, rear alert and rear brake. Don't really care about those settings. You've got traffic sign recognition. This is an interesting feature. I've got it on, so it will let me know what the speed limits are in the area that I'm driving, or on the streets that I'm driving, but it won't. Everything else is turned off, so it won't tone when they change. It won't warn me if I'm exceeding something, and it won't slow me down if I'm exceeding a speed limit, so that's good. Yeah, they often get the readings wrong. I mean, all vehicles tend to get them wrong, like if there's a bus with a sign on it, a school bus with the 30 sign on it, that it sees it, yeah, it'll just potentially expect you to drop down to 30, which is not quite right. It's fine when the bus is stopped, but when they're just driving, yeah, you just obey the normal speed limit, not their one. Parking assist, a couple of options, AVM. What's in that? Okay, that brings you to there, and then you've got parking sensors, which is on. So that's ADAS. Don't want to muck around too long on these because they're a bit dull. So under energy, you've got 3 tabs: manager, charging and discharging, and energy consumption. Probably the most interesting one is energy consumption. But we'll start with the energy manager here. You can adjust through the software your regenerative braking settings, standard versus high. That's also on the steering wheel with a physical button. Mine's on standard because I live rurally. I understand that that's probably the best setting. If I was in a town environment, I would switch back to high, but standard for open road driving, I understand, is probably the best bet. Not a lot going to be in it anyway, so not too phased. What else we got? We've got range display mode. So on the driver dash, you can you get a state of charge, and you also get a range display. So based on that state of charge, so you can either have it in standard or dynamic. Dynamic seems to be the preferred choice, and I'm happy with that. Under charging and discharging, at the moment you can tell the vehicle is being charged. Smart charging is a schedule. You can set a schedule. I don't give a hoot about that. You can also control the AC charging current limit between 6, 8, 10, 16 and max amps. Max seems to be the most common setting, so that will just pull as much through as the portable charging cable or the AC charging point will be able to give to you. If I occasionally drop that down to 8 amp if I'm using my 10 amp charging cable overnight. So during the day when I'm around and I can keep an eye on things, I'll have it at max. But if I want to do a long charge or a full charge, for example, and it happens to incur with night time, I'll drop it back to 8, just because it seems to be the done thing. 10 amp, our outlets in New Zealand, our standard outlets are 10 amp, so 80% of that would be 8, and that's generally good practice. My cabling's fine, I'm not worried, but I don't want to take any chances. We've also got a toggle here to lock the charging port when you plug in. So for example, using an AC charging point or my granny charger, by setting that, no random off the street can pull it out, disconnect the charging cable without unlocking the car first. So that's a good practice thing to have on. Energy consumption. I've recently reset energy consumption, the last 50 kilometres anyway, that's what this chart is depicting. Yeah, BYD tend to just give you the last 50% or the overall cumulative average. So there's no trip, there's no visibility of your trip statistics. It's either the last 50 or the total, which is a little disappointing. BYD, it'd be good if we could visualize this at a trip level. Now you can see here that my cumulative average electricity consumption or energy consumption is 18.8 kilowatt hours per 100k. That's pretty consistent with all my other videos. I think I was averaging about 18.9 in those. So I live rurally, so if anybody's want to compare that with what they'd expect in an open road environment, I think you'd be averaging about that. And you've also got some driving time and average speed statistics there as well. So quickly move along to vehicle. There's a ton of settings here. You can control your intelligent chassis, comfort versus sport steering. For brake modes, you've got comfort, sport and comfort parking option there as well. You've got control for your lights, your ambient lighting, your headlights. You've got headlights after exit. That's like the car, as long as it's pointing in the general direction you're walking after you park, it will kind of follow you home to your door. I think that's the plan for headlights after exit. Headlights before enter. I'm not entirely sure how I'd use that, but it's there. Light signal preview, intelligent courtesy light. Okay. Unlock with welcome, lock with farewell. Don't really know much about that one. Comfort driving, you've got a setting for auto wipers, auto driver seat. So when you open the car, the seat will retract back to give you more room to away from the steering wheel to get yourself seated. And then once you shut the door, the seat will pull forward again back into the normal position. Auto fold for your wing mirrors, and tilt while reversing. So if you're reversing, the wing mirrors will tilt down to give you a better view of the ground that you're reversing into. There's also settings for your heads-up display. The premium variant, which is what I have here, has a heads-up display in it. You can turn that off or on, adjust its projection, the angle, the brightness. You can also set it between snow and classic. So classic, the text or the speedo is and the text is in white writing. If you flick it to snow, it's in a light blue. I guess a better contrast in snowy conditions. Optional display, so you can also display ADAS information in the heads-up display if you want or not. I'll turn it on. And navigation, you can also include that in the heads-up display or not, which is cool. Instrument panel controls, you can adjust the brightness in 10% increments. You can also turn off or on navigation and how it appears in the driver display. So you can have a simple navigation display there, a small or a full. Full, it fills up the whole screen. Small, it fills up a third of the screen. Simple is just very, very basic navigation instructions. And off is off. Bit of a bug I've noticed with the vehicle. Sometimes I have it on small, but sometimes when I jump in the vehicle after it being powered off, I find it off. and usually it just holds its setting, so for some reason that can set to off randomly. So on the dash you've obviously got your mileage for the vehicle. By default you can have it display trip A, trip B mileage or total mileage. There's also a physical button to cycle between those three options on the stalk, so not a big deal. AC settings. AC mode has eco or comfort options. Eco probably saves a little bit of energy. You can remotely turn on air conditioning. You can set for how long. If you do remotely turn it on, it can come on for 10, 15, 20, 25 or 30 minutes, I believe. Air purification setting. You can have that on or off. And there's a couple of other options for recirculation, fan speed during Bluetooth calls. Yep. So if you get a call, the fans will automatically turn down if this is on. So you can make it a little bit easier to hear the call, and vice versa, I guess, for the other end. Seats, we've kind of touched on seat adjustment. You can set up 2 profiles, which is great. They're not linked to any particular key or anything, but the user can come in and say, oh, I prefer profile 1, position 1 or position 2. And then there's some settings again for the vented and heated seats, which we've touched on. Locks, you can configure a digital key. I don't. You can adjust the height of the tailgate in 1% parameters, which is cool. The door handles are auto folding or not. You can turn it off. They can fold after 2, 5 or 10 minutes. 5 was default for me. Remote unlock, so you can, when you remotely unlock the vehicle, you can open all doors or just the driver, and then there's some other additional settings you can configure on the remote for different presses and what have you. There's a setting to automatically close windows in the rain. That's off. Auto window closing after locking. Yeah, that makes sense at high speed, right? Auto power on, auto power off. What is that? Okay, that might be a new feature. Is that to do with... so this car, I traditionally just use the start-stop button to turn it off and on, so maybe you don't need to do that anymore. I don't know. Didn't get told. Notifications. Nearly done. You can turn off or on safety alert broadcast, intelligent broadcast settings. Okay, there's a ton of alerts for different failures. Great. Broadcast volume 16. Vehicle prompt standard. Right. Seatbelt, pedestrian detection. Okay. Standard or brand. Media volume decreases when navigating. Okay. Intelligent voice assistant settings. Interesting. Okay. Don't really care. I don't really need to use it that much. System key sounds are off here. I don't want to hear me tapping through these screens. Right, and cabin perception we've kind of touched on, but here it is anyway. The driver monitoring system, which checks for things like your fatigue, might see if you're yawning, see if your eyes are starting to close, I assume. There's also a distracted driving warning. If you take your eyes off the road for, milliseconds, it will have a beep at you, really. That's the reality of it. So you've got to, takes a little bit of getting used to. And then you've got your child presence detection settings, which can be a bit hit and miss. But interestingly, if you do get caught out with it, and it's a false positive, you can open the door. That will turn it off because it makes a hell of a racket. Or you can just tap a button on screen when it goes off. If you check out the screen, there's a notification saying the warning's being set off. Push this button to turn it off. So that's a fast way just to cool that down because it makes a racket. And look, I don't mind that feature. I don't want to see anyone stuck in a car who can't get out. And then there's the service tab here. There's three options, three sub tabs: vehicle info, overhaul, and intelligent maintenance. I haven't really seen these before. I think they might be new. I don't know. Do you want to turn on maintenance interval? It's set to either 45, 60, or 75. Oh, wow, it's weird. Weird intervals. It's telling me it's currently 66, but 66 is not an option. I can't see it there. Anyway, and then maintenance mileage option at 14. Yeah, again, I don't really know what this is. I think could this be new? I don't know. I need to read the manual. Overhaul, front wiper check. What was that? Turn off the wiper and wash it before setting to the wiper maintenance. Oh, okay. Right. That's how you do it. Cool. I wondered how you do maintenance to the wiper and wash the car with not the blades in the way. Trailer mode for EPB, and then manual. I need to read this. This gets updated. There's in the App Store you can update this app, and I should really check out some of those new features that I believe are there. So this is an always up to date as long as you update it. E-manual, and okay, it's got some visual and a visual way of accessing it, which is cool. Otherwise you just search manually. You've got a search for keyword button there. More, statement of use, offline resource downloaded. Interesting. Yeah. So that's that in a bit of a nutshell. Thanks for watching. Probably took a bit longer than I anticipated. I think I've captured everything. I mean, you've got the hand gestures, ups and downs, lefts and rights. That's okay. You've got the skirt at the top for shortcuts, and you've got these ribbons at the bottom, which are ever present. So, well, that's not true. This isn't ever present. So that's us. Alrighty, that's it from me. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in my next video.